A pinch of faith. Feed your faith daily. In life, we're often told that failure defines us. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the broken parts of our past are actually the places where new faith is planted? In a pinch of faith, you'll see how even the smallest whisper belief can turn shame into growth and failure into the first page of something new. The cupboard wasn't empty. Garth Wingman hadn't touched his Bible in 6 weeks. Not because he didn't love God, but because he didn't love himself. He kept telling himself, later, I'll read tomorrow. I'll believe again when I feel it. But tomorrow is like a bus that never stops when you're waiting with guilt in your hands. One ordinary Wednesday morning, standing in front of a cracked mirror in a cheap motel bathroom, Garth whispered something he hadn't said in a long time. Help me believe again. And it began not with lightning, but with mustard seed and a story no one knew. The warehouse job and the hidden journal. Garth had taken a job at a discount furniture warehouse to keep busy after his fall from grace. He was once a respected financial advisor, a husband, and a church leader. But years of quiet drinking, hiding secrets, and deep wounds finally caught up to him. Ruth had left. His kids didn't answer his calls. The man in the mirror was someone he didn't know anymore. Every day, he unloaded boxes and swept dusty floors. He kept a pocket-sized notebook in his back pocket, not to track his tasks, but to write down moments of clarity, phrases that gave him hope, and scripture he remembered from better days. One lunch break, he wrote, Then King David went in and sat before the Lord, and he said, Who am I, sovereign Lord, and what is my family, that you brought me this far? 2 Samuel 7, verse 18. Tears rolled onto the page. Maybe I'm not too far gone, he scribbled. The unexpected messenger. One afternoon, while taking out the bins behind the warehouse, Garth noticed a young man sitting on the curb, sipping from a brown paper bag. Thirsty? Garth asked jokingly. The boy replied, Aren't we all? And smiled without shame. They struck up a conversation. His name was Jesse. James. Homeless. Addicted. But saved, he added quickly. Just don't look it yet. Jesse told Garth something that clung like static. Fate's like hunger. If you don't feed it, it starves. I read the Bible every day now, even if it's just a verse. I'm not trying to impress God. I'm trying to survive. Garth laughed through his nose. Jesse grinned and passed him a folded sheet of paper. John 4. She dropped her water jar and ran. That's how much the truth hit her. A conversation in the motel mirror. That night, Garth sat on the edge of his sagging motel bed, eyes red from too much thinking. Blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Psalm 32, verse 1. He pulled out his notebook. What if my fall wasn't the end but the beginning? What if I'm not being punished but replanted? He stared at the cracked ceiling. Don't let the past determine your potential, he whispered. Then something radical occurred. He picked up his dusty Bible, placed his hand on it like a heartbeat, and spoke gently to the silence. I forgive you, Garth. Not because he deserved it, but because you can't carry both grace and guilt. Faith doesn't expire. Faith isn't loud. It's not the worship song, the church pew, or even the answered prayer. It's the whisper that says, try again when everything inside you says, stay down. Jesus told the disciples in John 4, verse 35, I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. He wasn't just talking about crops. He was talking about people who feel forgotten. People like Garth. People like you and me. Faith is harvested, not hoarded. Fed daily, one truth at a time, like water for dry roots. If the enemy can get you to forget who you are, he's won. But even if you're just a pinch of faith left, you have what you need to move mountains. The phone call. On a rainy Thursday, Garth did something terrifying. He called Ruth. The line rang 4 times. She answered. There were tears, pauses, silence filled with stories that were too hard to say, but too precious to leave buried. Garth, she said.
I don't know if I can trust you again, but I do believe God still can.
And that was enough for now. Later that night, he wrote in his notebook, Who is woe? Who is sorrow? Who is bruises without cause? Those who linger over wine. Do not gaze at wine when it is red. In the end, it bites like a snake. Proverbs 23 verses 29 to 32. I don't linger anymore. The garden box and the mustard seed. A month later, Garth built a small garden box behind the warehouse with Jesse's help. They planted mustard seeds, tiny, nearly invisible. This is how faith starts. Garth told him, not with lightning, but with dirt and decisions. Every day, Garth reads one verse out loud, plants in his heart, and waters it with action. He's still healing, still mending. But now, he's no longer starving. The takeaway for you: faith doesn't demand a perfect past. It invites a courageous present. Even if all you have is a whisper, a notebook, a phone call, a seed in the dirt, it's enough. Penned by Gary Conan Doyle. In worship of God's wonderful glory. Hey, thanks for listening. If you're still here, something in this story or song clicked with you. So here's a little secret. When you hit thumbs up, it tells the YouTube gremlins, hey, more of this. And if you subscribe, it's like saying, yeah, I want in. So go ahead, tap like, hit subscribe, and make sure you don't miss what's next.